Well, the Eagles' divisional round opponent is officially set, and today I will get into my initial reaction and thoughts on this matchup, and I may say some things that come off over the top, but honestly, it is how I feel, so we'll talk about that. Also, Nick Sirianni comes to the defense of Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, and Vic Fangio goes into detail on a change we could see implemented this week that will completely change the dynamic of the defense. We'll get into it all, but welcome into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Do me a huge favor. Go down below, like this video, and subscribe to the channel. We've hit 30K views on some of our previous videos, so if everybody hits that subscribe button, we will get to 30K in no time. But let's start it off, man. It's official. The second seed Eagles facing the 4-seeded Rams in the divisional round on Sunday at 3 p.m. Boy, oh boy, man. I watched that game last night. I was telling people all season long that the Vikings were frauds. I saw Detroit take their soul last week. Speaking of Detroit, they will be going up against the Commanders. Anybody think Washington could upset them? I mean, should we want them to? Maybe that's another take, you know? The third matchup, this time in Philly, and, you know, after that whole Commanders celebration in the locker room, maybe the Eagles get the revenge. Washington will be playing with house money, but I think Detroit will still take it. Anyway, Eagles and Rams, second seed, 4 seed. I just feel very, very confident about this game. And I went 5-1 in my predictions this week, and I thought the Rams would beat the Vikings, and boy, did they beat them down. They beat them down, but the team doesn't scare me. We'll get into that a little bit later, and I'll give you a bold take about this game. But let's start it off with Nick Sirianni. Just a stat here. Nick Sirianni is 25-5 straight up when he's a 5.5-point favorite or higher. The Eagles are currently 6-point favorites on BetParks. They started out the day at 5.5. I think they'll probably go up to like 6.5 before the game on Sunday. And I think deservedly so. That's where it should be. I think the Eagles have a wide margin in this matchup. But speaking of Nick Sirianni, today he was on WIP radio and he made some interesting comments about Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. Here's what he said about Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts. Quote, "In times of, hey, we need it now, Jalen Hurts made some big-time plays, some big-time checks, big-time throws. That's what he continued to do. Jalen has played really efficient football. You cannot win 15 games unless your quarterback is playing efficient, playing really good football, taking care of the football." And I 100% agree. I think he's right. And I've said all season long, Jalen Hurts has played pretty good football, hasn't turned it over a lot. A lot of the people in the comments on the last video said I was a Jalen hater and this and that. Look, it's okay to acknowledge he didn't play good. He didn't play that good against the Packers. He also didn't need to because, again, this championship caliber defense shut them down in every angle. Jalen's going to have to be better moving forward, but it's not like I said he was the worst quarterback in the world. He didn't necessarily play good, but I don't think he really played terrible. I just don't think he had that good of a game. I think he was shaking rust off and missed a couple guys. And at the end of the day, he can't hold on to the ball too long, but Nick is absolutely right. And I've said this all along. He wins. He is a winner. Even Nick Sirianni, winner. Go back. Look at the records. Look at what these guys are doing. They find ways. That's one word I can use to describe this team all year, man. Resilient. Anytime they need a late game drive or anytime they need a big turnover, big interception, whatever, man. Defense, offense, they find a way in the biggest moments. And I think that's really key on a championship team. So I agree 100%. I think Jalen's going to look a lot better this week against the Rams, and I think he's going to get back into his groove, have that full, rhythm down. I think he'll just be a lot more comfortable. So excited to see what Jalen can do. But Nick Sirianni also commented on AJ Brown reading the book on the sideline, the whole moment everybody was talking about, which AJ shut down right away. He said, "I'm definitely okay with it. The crazy thing is he's been reading it on the sideline for a long time. It just so happened a camera saw it this week." And he continued to talk about it. He says, "We don't do any research. We jump to a conclusion of, oh, he must be disgruntled. That to me is lazy. Everyone needs to figure out why he's doing it before they jump to judgment on the man." I agree. And he goes on to talk about AJ Brown. He says he's the best receiver that the city has ever seen. Is he speaking facts or no? I mean, AJ Brown's an unbelievable talent. And, people are saying he's injured, he's banged up. Yeah, a lot of people are this time of year. But look, 70, 80% AJ is still better than a lot of receivers. And AJ is a monster. He's going to go out there. I think he's going to have another big game. Had over 100 in the first matchup against the Rams. I think he's destined for a big-time game again. So let me know what you think about this. But shout out to Nick for coming to the defense of his players. Now, On the other side, Vic Fangio talks about a potential change that we could see this week. Obviously, Nakobe Dean, it was announced, has a patellar tendon tear. He's gone for the playoffs, probably the start of next season. And now the Eagles are having to figure it out, right? And a lot of people were talking about Oren Burks in the last video in the comments. And look, man, I mean, the drop-off was significant. You know, shout out to Oren Burks. He's been around the game. He's a good special teamer. He's made a big play to open out that game. But he's not Nakobe Dean, right? He struggled in tackling. He struggled in just moving around and manning down that middle with Zach Ball. So I think the Eagles have to figure this out. And I think the Eagles coaching staff is in a similar mindset here. And Vic Fangio says the Eagles are not afraid to put in the rook, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., despite the fact he is a rookie. He says, quote, I think he's got a good future. That future might be now. And you know what, man? That's one thing I really appreciate about Vic Fangio, even here where he talks about Bryce Huff only playing one snap. And he says, quote, we had a good 3-man rotation. We just stuck with it. You know, when he was asked why Bryce isn't playing more, man, Vic Fangio's got some balls, doesn't he? This guy is not afraid to make the moves. He's not afraid to lay down the law, put his foot down. Doesn't matter what your name is, what team you came from, what your contract says. The best players are going on the field. And I think that coaching mentality speaks volumes. And really, it's a big reason why there's a lot of competition. There's a reason why this team has been so solid all year long. The way they play, but also the way they prepare. And you can just see it from the mental side as well, like AJ Brown talked about, right? 90% mental. And this defense is so locked in. And it's because they take on the mentality of the coordinator in Vic Fangio. He's not afraid to do anything. So shout out to Vic. And what do you guys think about Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? I think we might see him a bit this week. I still think, you know, preparing for a playoff matchup, Oren Burks will be the guy, and he's going to have to step in and fulfill big shoes, you know. But I think Jeremiah Trotter Jr., especially if Burks starts off bad in this game, could get put in. Best player on the field, whoever they go through the week and look at, the best preparation, right? Put them on the field, see what they can do. Got to live up to the moment. You don't get second chances. It is the playoffs. It is win or go home. So this could be interesting. You know, Trotter played really well in training camp. We'll see how it translates if he does get on the field. And also, while uploading this video, just saw this. Eagles signing Nicholas Morrow to the practice squad. He was with the Bills for most of this season, had 12 starts for the Eagles last year. Don't think he'll start at linebacker, but maybe could eat some special teams reps. What do you guys think about Nicholas Morrow? Also, on the other end, Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, says in terms of the Cowboys coming to him about their head coach opening, quote, I spent a lot of time there, 8 years, have plenty of relationships about that place. I love it here. I've had so much fun. It's been a really fun process. We're in a special situation right now, getting the chance to play this Sunday, having a chance to make a run at this thing, and that's really all you worry about. Everything is what it is, and we'll see where it takes you. Great answer. Shut it down. Didn't take the Gannon approach where it's like, yeah, you know, I'm just going to go interview the day before Super Bowl. So shout out to Kellen Moore. I hope he doesn't leave to go to the Cowboys. Cowboys missed their window on some of the interviews because they fired McCarthy late. Just a disaster of an organization. I don't care about the Cowboys, and Kellen Moore has his eyes on the prize. But let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about that because I saw one of the national media clips today. This idiot, Nick Wright, says, I can't hide it. I've loved this team. Not only do the Rams beat the Eagles, the Rams win the NFC. You know damn well he doesn't believe that, man. And the last time the Eagles played the Rams, Saquon had 255 rushing yards and 47 receiving yards, over 300 scrimmage yards, and 2 touchdowns. And it was really a top 10 game all time from a running back in the history of the league. So this wasn't even that long ago. I think it was like, 6-7 weeks. So the Eagles ended up beating the LA Rams 37-20. And I know seasons change and, you know, this isn't really a pure indicator of what we can expect, but I go up and down the roster. And again, the Vikings were frauds, all right? The Rams are just a decent team. Matter of fact, they're almost more extreme in the way I talked about the Packers last week, where one week they can show up and give you 30, the next week they look absolutely terrible. And in terms of going up against this Eagles solid defense, I just can't expect much from the Rams. They had 9 sacks yesterday. They tied a playoff record, but Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts out there. He was like a deer in headlights. So listen, man, the Philadelphia Eagles, in my opinion, and maybe this is me just being overly optimistic here, but my urge in this game, my first initial reaction, my gut feeling, maybe this will change in my preview later in the week, I think the Eagles are winning this game by 2 or more scores. I really do. I think they're winning it by like 17 points because not only did they win the first game by 17 points, they're better in every margin. You could argue that Matt Stafford's better than Jalen Hurts, but he's not mobile. He's 36 years old. Kyron Williams has 1,300 yards on the season, but he doesn't average a lot per carry. Cooper Kupp's getting up there in age. Injuries have hurt him a bit. He's slowed down. Quinyon and Nakobe Dean did a great job against Kupp and Nakua the first matchup. So other than a garbage touchdown, I mean, they shut this team down. They shut these guys down. And I know the Rams have won more as the season went on, but you look at their schedule, they had a really, really good win against Buffalo, 44 points against them. But after that, 12 points against the Niners, 19 against the Jets, 13 against Arizona. Honestly, I think the Packers were a tougher matchup than the Rams. I really do. And again, I don't want to jinx it or get ahead of myself, but I just feel so confident with how this Eagles team is playing together right now. Saquon showed, he put it on a showcase already in terms of what he could do against this team. Jalen's going to play better. You know, Nick Sirianni's got the rhythm down. I'm really confident. I really am. And not to bring in the outside stuff, and my heart goes out to anybody affected by this tragedy, but the Rams are in a tough situation as well. They just played in Arizona because they couldn't play in their own stadium. Then they traveled back to LA just to now travel to Philly. So they're coming all the way across the country. It might even snow. It's going to be very cold. They're not used to that. Eagles are better in every margin, and I think they're going to get it done pretty handily on Sunday. Those are my initial thoughts. We'll get into the matchups later this week, but how do you feel about this matchup right off the rip? Give me your thoughts down below. Eagles and Rams, divisional round. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I will catch you on the next one. Also, real quick, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor of today's video. It is the great BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using our code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlays, live bets, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So sign up today with the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. Brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly.